Everyone else is doing it, so why not us? I've reviewed a lot of music on the show over the year, and now it's time to reveal EDM Matters Top 10 Albums of 2019. Welcome to a special episode of EDM Matters. I'm Matt Meadow. Here are our top 10 albums of 2019. First up at number 10, Maddie's sophomore album, Good Faith. It took 4 years for Maddie to finally come out with his sophomore album, but boy was it worth the wait. Good Faith is the perfect name for an album that just oozes good vibes and a new gospel-ish sound that's more tailored to the electronic world. The only reason it's number 10 on my own list is because I don't personally enjoy it as much as Adventure, though I recognize how incredible the album is. Still, the lack of real hits on the album bring it down just a notch. I don't want to feel like I have to listen to the full thing whenever I want just a taste. At number 9, Griffin with his debut album, Gravity. In a competition between Griffin and DJ Khaled, Griffin might only just barely lose on number of collaborators. This album has everyone from Seven Lions to Slander to Ellie Goulding to Aluna George to Aloe Black to Carly Rae Jepsen. And that's only half. And though the amount of collaborators might give the feeling of a disconnected body of work, each feature seems to have been carefully selected to really maximize Griffin's own production. It's an EDM album disguised as a pop album in the best way. You'll be listening to hits like Remember and Tie Me Down years from now. At number 8, Kill Paris with his third full-length album, Galaxies Within Us. The album is sort of a spiritual successor to his last album, 2015's Galaxies Between Us. I say spiritual rather than a straight sequel because apart from the name, there really isn't a whole lot of similarity between the two. One of the incredible aspects of this album was that it was recorded with the help of a device called a MIDI sprout, which is a device that takes the electrical signals from plants and converts them to MIDI. So Kill Paris literally sampled plants for this album, which is really dope. As far as production, Galaxies Within Us sounded like a fantastic return to the heavily textured, funky, sexy production that he showed in his first album all the way back in 2012. Standout tracks include Magic and Two Minds. At number 7, Moxie with the return of house music. This is the only straight house album on my list, and for perfect reason. It's so good! When I talked about the album on the show back in August, I described it as insanely fun, with every song hitting a different vein of house and all of them being absolute slappers. That hasn't changed in the slightest. Though I haven't listened to the album in a couple months, revisiting it as I wrote out this list felt like revisiting an old friend. I couldn't help but move about in my desk chair at home, grooving and vibing out. If you're wondering where to start, I recommend Boom Shakalaka and You Lose Nothing. At number 6, the one, the only, Eleni with his third major studio album, Ascend. Honestly, there's no way any EDM publication or show could put out a top 10 list for 2019 and not include this album. Whether it's top 3 or top 5 or here at number 6, its inclusion is necessary. Why? Because of the trajectory that Eleni has taken as an artist in the past few years and the growth that he's shown and the indisputable strength of this massive release. I talked about a lot of features for Griffin's album before, and he still has Eleni beat both in size of names and number of features, but Eleni's are still incredible looking through it. John Bellion, Bahari, The Chainsmokers, Said This Guy, Ex-Ambassadors, Bipolar Sunshine. If there's one critique I could make of Eleni's album, it's that it never ventures too far outside of a basic rhythm and sound. With the exception of Gorgeous and Blood, it's all very safe and pop, but God, they're all still so good. Good Things Fall Apart with John Bellion is easily in my top 5 songs of the year of any genre, of any artist. It's so damn good. Moving now into the top 5, we have Sebastian with his first album in 8 years, Thirst. I'll admit I'm not a huge Sebastian fan, and this album came out quite late in the year. I didn't even think to check it out until I saw someone recommend it on Reddit, and now I can't get enough. It plays like a mixtape while still being perfectly crafted, expertly produced, and impeccably written. Just listening to the opening song, Thirst, gives me chills. It sets up the rest of the album in a wonderful way that puts you on the edge of your seat. And Sebastian is a legendary artist in the French touch movement, commonly found alongside names like Busy P, Justice, Cassius, Mr. Oiseau, Daft Punk, Kavinsky, and more. His pedigree speaks for itself, but the album itself does not disappoint. The tones are so incredibly rich and lush. You can tell that an amazing amount of care went into crafting this project to the most rigorous standards. I can't even recommend a single from this album. It's so important to listen to it from start to finish. Next up at number 4, Louis Vuitton's debut album, Way Back When. Now, whereas Thirst was a true artist album, Way Back When is a musician's album. Louis himself is a multi-instrumentalist, playing the keys, trumpet, drums, and God knows what else he's learned in the meantime. All of this knowledge of instruments really shines through in each track, coating your speakers in a sultry, velvety tone that sounds so wonderfully natural and unprocessed, it immediately stands out in a sea of digital synths and plugins. This is the closest to a true crossover jazz electronic album in dance music, and I'm going to stand by that statement until something better comes along. If you want to get a good idea for the album, check out Restless Sea and Bad Habits. All right, we're getting into the top 3 now. Who do you think is going to get the top spot? At number 3 is Delta Heavy with their sophomore album, Only in Dreams. This is, in my opinion, the best bass album of the year. Phase 1 and Conrank also had truly excellent albums, but Delta Heavy have been around longer than both of them and have the songwriting skills to back it up. The album doesn't stick to one style of bass, moving fluidly around between dubstep, drum and bass, and some real experimental like on Replicant with Kuro. It also has one of the best bass songs of the year, in my opinion, Here With Me, featuring Modestep. This feels like both artists went into the studio and said to each other, "Want to make something that sounds like 2014 again?" The crazy emotion conveyed in the melody and the energy in the bass are what dreams are made of. At number 2, we have Karma Fields with his sophomore album, Body Rush. Apart from Delta Heavy and Louis Vuitton, this is probably the album I've been sitting with the longest this year. I've listened to it in the kitchen, in the car, sitting down while working. It's easy to tune in and engage or put it on as background noise. It's also one of the few trance, techno, house crossover albums that I've really been able to connect with. I can't really qualify that in spoken words. It just has this je ne sais quoi quality to it. The flow of the album is absolutely perfect, going from really intense moments like Goodbye and an underground system of forgotten machines to the softer moments of Who Do You Want to Be. It's house and techno with its repetitive and pulsing moments without being so repetitive that it becomes a chore to listen to. Check out An Underground System of Forgotten Machines and Super Mega Tokyo. Last but not least, my number 1 album of the year goes to Fox Stevenson for Killjoy. Unlike ordering the rest of this list, this one really came as a no-brainer. I've been a fan of Fox for a while, mostly for tracks like Lighthouse and Bruises, as opposed to his heavier dubstep stuff, and hearing a full album of that style was literally and figuratively music to my ears. He sings on every song and brings his own unique touch to every synth, every note, every single drum. I know this one is really fresh for EDM Matters since I just talked about it last month, so I'm not really sure what more I can say about it, except that I still haven't stopped listening to it. Every song is a new journey, and I'm immeasurably happy to embark on it each time. To give you a quick idea of just how much I've listened, since the album came out in October, Fox Stevenson has already become my #2 most listened to artist on Spotify Wrapped for the whole year. And actually, Karma Fields was #1. So there you have it, EDM Matters Top 10 Albums for 2019. And I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am about the albums for next year. We'll see you next time.
Hey there, I'm Aaron, I'm a producer here at EDM Matters. As you can see, I'm in a location. If you liked the show, which I hope you did, please click that like button and leave a comment because, we do kind of want to hear what you got to say, so right down there. If you want to see the last episode, click that button. If you want to subscribe, and deep down, I think we both know you want to, hit this button right there. Thanks so much. I'm out.